As mentioned in previous lessons, it often takes a combination of methods to develop a surefire sense of where you are on the fretboard while you're soloing. It's what I call orientation. Now in this lesson we're going to help develop our sense of orientation by focusing in on just 2 out of the 5 blues scale positions, the first and the fourth. Now to make good use of this system and to make sense of it, you will need to be conversant with the names of the natural notes, at least on the 6th string of the guitar. Now by natural we mean notes that correspond to the white notes on a keyboard or piano. So those are the notes E, F, G, A, B, C, D and E. If you already know those really well, then please fast forward at this point, but for those of you who've only just come across this as a problem, I'm just going to go over a few tips on how you can quickly learn these. You can use 3 solid points of reference on the fretboard, starting with the open string, which I hope you have down as E. Next there's the 12th fret, where you always find the same note, an octave higher, than the open string, so that too on this string is an E. Next there's the 5th fret, where you'll always get, apart from on the 3rd string, you will always get the note that's the same as the next open string. So if we know our next open string is A, we know that's an A. So those are 3 primary points of reference, E, E and A. Let's look at another useful point of reference. Immediately after E comes F. Just as there's no black note between E and F on a piano keyboard, so that there's no E sharp or F flat. So E, F. Then coming up to the A note, which we established earlier, the 2 natural notes either side of that both fall on marked frets. On most guitars you have little dots, on this guitar you've got big sort of chunky inlays, but they're the dotted frets or marked frets. So just up this side of A we've got B on the next marked fret. Just back from A we've got G on that marked fret. So far that's given us E, F, G, A and B. Then, just as there is no black note between B and C on a keyboard, so there is no B sharp, no C flat. So we go straight from the note B to C. So having found B at the marked fret there, fret 7, C is the next note up at fret 8. Notice that's on an unmarked fret, as is D at fret 10. So those 2 notes are on unmarked frets C and D. And then we finish back on E at the 12th fret, as mentioned previously, the octave fret. Above the 12th fret, the only thing to know is that the markings correspond to those in the lower part of the fretboard. So for example, the 12th fret equates to the open position down here. So the first dot up here actually equates to this dot here. Slightly odd on this guitar that I've got an inlay at the 1st fret. I want you to ignore that. Most guitars don't have that, and frankly they shouldn't. It's confusing and unnecessary. But that fret, fret 3, corresponds with fret 15. A little bit like the 24-hour clock. If you think of 3 PM as 1500 hours, you kind of got it. 15, fret 15, same as fret 3. Fret 17 corresponds to fret 5. Fret 19 to fret 7. And so on. So generally speaking, once you've learnt your notes between here and here, it's not that hard to find them in the upper part if you just see this as a duplicate of the lower part of the neck. So the idea is, once you've learnt these notes thoroughly, it's easy to find the first position in any natural key. First goal, if you like. Now let's put that to some use. I'm going to work with a backing track I call a 60-bar blues. You'll find a copy of this available to you from the toolbox in the backing track section, and I advise you look that up after the lesson. But for now, just see if you can follow me on this. Now the 60-bar blues is really just 5 verses of 12-bar blues, but here's the trick. Each verse is in a different key. Now the particular one I'm going to show you around first starts off in the key of E, moves on to the key of G for the second verse, and then the third verse is in the key of A, the fourth verse in the key of C, notice a bit more of a jump there, and the fifth verse in the key of D, before cycling back to E again. So the trick is, as we hit each verse, you will see a reminder of what key we're in flash up on the screen. But as we hit each verse, just use the first position for that key. First thing I advise is just sort of playing through the notes of the position, just to orientate yourself, and then play a few phrases in that position, just to get the feel for it. Now I must emphasise that at this stage, the quality of your improvising isn't the issue. We're not looking to smarten things up that much at this point. We're literally just trying to stay in the right key. So don't worry about the quality of phrasing, just make sure you stay in the right position and change to the right position for each key. That's the drill. Okay, here we go. Starting in E. Okay. Ran out of fretboard at the end there. Alright, so I hope you found that okay. It was a bit faster than I expected actually, but there we go. It's a while since I used that backing track myself. As I said, you can, if you're not quite up to speed with that yet, don't worry. Spend a bit of time, take a bit of time out now perhaps just to sort of practice against the backing track until you're happy that you can keep track with those key changes. So that's orientation by the first position. We're now going to look at orientation by the fourth position. Take a look at these diagrams. If we look at the first octave in the first position, as highlighted by the coloured notes in the diagram on the left, you can see that the same pattern exactly appears in the fourth position, using the same colours for the same notes. It's just that the pattern's shifted over by one string. So just as the lower key note in the first position relates to names of notes on the sixth string, so the lower key note on the fourth position relates to names of notes on the fifth string. Confused? Let's just show you what I mean. Naming notes on the fifth string of the guitar is not too difficult once we've thoroughly learned the sixth string note names. Take a note on the sixth string, this A for example, and you'll find the same note 5 frets further down on the next string. So just as that's A there, that corresponds with the open A. If I move that A up to B, again I'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and I'll find B there. B, B. You can hear it's the same. C, C. D, D. E, E. F, F. G, G. A, and so on. Get the idea? So you just climb down 5 frets and you'll find the note of the same name. So that's one point of reference. Depending on your experience level, there may be other points of reference you can use as well. For example, the note B can be located by thinking of the B7th chord shape. When you're playing that chord, your root note is there, so that's B as the root note for B7th. Likewise, when you play C, your root note is there, so that's at the bottom of the C chord, so B, C. We know that's D from tuning the guitar. We use that note to tune the open D string too. The E here, that's often used as a sort of note an octave above the open E. Riffs like connection to get used to. There's an A note there, obviously at the 12th fret on the A string, and going back from there you can find G 2 frets lower, A flat, G, looking out for the black note from the keyboard in between the two, so A, G, and then F you can think of as 2 steps down from G or 1 step up from E. So, just take a little while to sort that out and get to know those names on on that string. So now we're going to use the 60 bar blues backing track that we worked with just now, but this time we're going to try and play nothing but 4th position patterns in each key. So remember that the backing track starts in the key of E, but this time we need to orientate ourselves by that E rather than that E. So we'll be starting there, and then after the first verse we shift up to G, there, then A, there, and then up to you when it goes up to C. You can either play up there or drop down there. It's good practice to fall off one end of the guitar and climb on the other. Then D, and then back to E again. So that's the route I'm going to take, I think. Now, remember we have to use that note to orientate, but the fourth position pattern is that one. Fingering 1 4 1 4 1 2 3 1 3 2 4 1 4. If you're slightly less practiced on that than you suddenly feel you should be, now's a good time to pause and just brush it up. But let's say that you're up to scratch with that and you're ready to go. Let's just follow me through against the track. Again, you'll see the keys flash up on the screen. Okay, so once again, this may take you may have to invest a bit of time in your note learning and practicing along to that backing track to get on top of that. But I want to assure you that that is time very well worth investing. This level of orientation is useful not just for working with these patterns, but with everything you do on the guitar. So worth putting the hours in, as I say. Okay, now on to the next part of this drill. What we're going to do now is practice jumping from first position to fourth position in random keys. So I might start off in F and play a bit of first position. Jump to the fourth position. And then back again, first position, fourth, and so on. Then I'll pick another key, key of B, first position, whoops, fourth position, first position, 4th position, but this time I'm going to go up to it and hit a wrong note. Not to worry. 1st position in G, 4th, 1st, 4th, 1st, 4th, top 1st position. Get the idea, just kind of randomly move around, locating those positions and doing little licks and things just to kind of grease the wheels really and make sure you can move quickly from one to the other. Then you're ready for the next stage. So the final part of this for this lesson, you're probably anticipating this, we're going to go back to the 60 bar blues, but this time we're going to try and squeeze a little bit in from both positions, the 1st and the 4th, within each verse. Now it's pretty fast and it's a pretty tough drill, but give it your best shot, see if you can come along with me on this. And so on. If you manage to keep up with that, then please give yourself a very big pat on the back, because you've just taken a big step towards total fretboard mastery. Now once you're happy playing along with that particular backing track, there are 1 or 2 others you can try, also 60 bar blues tracks, which use slightly more awkward keys, the sharp keys and the flat keys. Do try those out once you feel ready for them. If on the other hand you're still feeling pretty disorientated, don't want you to be too concerned, because there's another couple of lessons to go in this series, both of which will help firm up this sense of figuring out where you are when you're playing. There are also other lessons on this site that promote that sense of fretboard orientation. As you can see, it's a subject we see as very important, especially for people venturing into the intermediate and advanced level of guitar playing. Okay, well, I hope you're having some fun with this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.